is here, ladies and gentlemen. Who can beat Indominus Rex 2.0, or can anyone? We've reacted to some of them that have kind of attempted, you know, Goji guys, Hank. We've got some other ones that I totally forgot the names of, to be honest. But can any of them finally beat Indominus 2.0? That's what we're gonna see today. Now, I don't really know if they're fighting already or if this is just like the start of what the tournament's gonna be. I don't really know. Shout out to Goji Center for the video, and let's get straight to it.
On July 22nd, 2024, a nightmare was unleashed.
I've been waiting for this, bro.
End an era of
I am a little late
mankind.
to this, my bad, guys.
This creature sent ripples across the planet.
That's
and
my
the
bad.
internet took it as a mission to eliminate this animal.
That's true.
Many failed.
Hank.
Many currently think they succeeded, but only a select few might have actually accomplished surviving.
See, I haven't seen any other than like the big mammoth,
pestilence,
Hank,
and death. These were the final
maybe one other
16 of the Great
16?
Hybrid War. A competition set out to challenge daring, aspiring
That's a
geneticists to research, craft, and study fictitious hybrids composed of real-life animals, with the end goal of surviving and defeating a 2.0 in single hand-to-hand combat.
which is gonna be
Out of
tough.
the more than
My boy's smart. He's
1,600
resilient.
submissions, very
Or my girl,
few
my
would
bad.
have been
Hey.
able to kill a 2.0.
My girl's
with
tough
even
with it.
fewer displaying creative body types, high congruence,
Ooh.
excellent genomes,
That
and
one at the
unique
bottom is
combat
tough.
methodologies that earned them the
Ooh,
spot
so it's this
in
one
the
in the
final
middle.
16.
Oh, hold
to
up.
keep this list interesting, the research team at Goji
That's a
Center
bet.
HQ
We got some cool
handpicked
ones.
the creatures that would perform best in a 1v1 matchup.
Guys, if you
against
haven't,
the 2.0,
scroll down, hit that subscribe
featuring
button.
some very unique builds, as you'll soon see. In the next
Some
few
very unique
episodes of the
builds.
Hybrid War, we'll narrow
Me.
these down to 8, then analyze the final 4 hybrids in the last episode, bringing forth the winner of this
Ooh.
competition.
I like
To
it.
determine the hybrid
So it's like a
spot in
tournament
the
sort of
final
style.
bracket, the hybrids will be placed in 4 separate groups, depending on their overall build, with Group A through C consisting only
Why
of
is group-
same builds, and D being a
Group
mixture
C is
of the
only
remaining
2?
8 with different overall builds. This is to prevent a sauropod versus sauropod
right.
or theropod versus theropod evaluation early on in the knockout rounds.
That
a
makes
live
sense.
drawing will be broadcast to all channel members, where we will live stream this drawing to
That's
determine which
kinda
hybrids
sick,
will
Goji
stand
Center.
up in the evaluation rounds. As this bracket closes in on the finalists, you'll find that we'll become even more harsh when evaluating these animals. Yes, even the final 16.
Even the
final
final
will
16.
truly be the best out of the best.
The
at
champion
defeating
versus
the 2.0.
Indominus.
Without further ado, let us begin
All right,
with
let's see the
hybrid
final
number
16.
1, Predator Rex. This
I like the
theropod
name.
hybrid submitted by Godzilla fan art can be described as a large but not oversized theropod, combining the traits of a variety of predators, modern and prehistoric.
Okay.
Also known as Vega, the hybrid marches into battle almost like
Vega.
a mirror of its
Ooh, I
opponent.
like that name,
Strong
too.
jaws, powerful limbs, armor,
Oh, he
and
looks like a
venom all brought to
savage.
bear. Looking at its genome and how they were used, this creature turns out being a highly resilient combatant. With
Looked a little bigger than
straightforward
Indom.
but practical weaponry. 9 contributors make themselves present, similar to that of the 2.0.
Got that
using a
snake
real-life paleo-accurate T-Rex, Megaraptor, Utah Raptor, Komodo Dragon, Chimpanzee, Pangolin, Honey Badger, Vampire Bat, and Limpets. A
Yo, how many
combination of strong jaws and
how many of them
claws
can
that
you
was coupled
add?
with dexterous
That's kinda
forearms
insane.
that were built to cope with the size and strength. This hybrid will be placed on spot A1 and will
Predator
patiently
Rex
await its
is
opponent
number
in the
1 in
evaluation
Group A.
round. Hybrid number 2, Monstrotherium brutalis,
Ooh.
with a name meaning brutal, monstrous
Bro, I
beast.
like these names
this creature
already.
stomps into the platform with
Why
a
he kinda
total
look
of
like a
9
pig?
genetic contributors, using the Megatherium
Ah, never
and
mind.
Shantungosaurus
Never
for
mind, I'll
build
take it
and
back.
size, chimpanzee, thylacoleo, domestic pig, Indian pangolin, African crested porcupine, scalyfoot gastropod, and
You see what I'm saying? How many of these can they mix together? Maybe there's a limit. How many is this? 2, 4, 6, 8, 9? Is there like a 9 limit, or is there a limit to how many, you know, of these animals you can mix together? I feel like at a certain point it might get overpowered, but then I guess if you use too many, it kind of counteracts each other. I don't know. If you guys have any information, let me know.
This is the first chiefly mammalian hybrid on this
That's
list.
a pretty cool one, though. I
This
wanna see what
ground
the
sloth on
3D one-
steroids combines raw power with the more armored
That's
skin
pretty cool.
and quills of
Yep.
pangolins and porcupines.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Further augments by the massive Shantungosaurus help it cope with its large size.
Dang!
And give it time to leverage its claws and teeth for their best use.
That's a big
One
fella.
big reason why this creature was selected was an interesting detail that may or may not have been intentionally leveraged by its geneticist at Just a Beat
Grabbed a
Otis.
tree?
While studying the genome, we identified a big issue. Scalyfoot gastropod and limpets were seemingly a clever choice when using it to augment the armor of this animal. However, mentioning that this also reinforces the bones makes possible for this hybrid to suffer from blood poisoning from all the iron leaching into the bloodstream. Isolating this augmentation only to the skin and teeth could avoid this, but thankfully, apart from adding this buff to mostly the skin, the hybrid also contains domestic pig, contributing to its immune system and ability to re-rep toxic buildups. This alone saved this hybrid.
He's Group B.
Sauropod heavyweight will await a rival competitor in spot D1. Time to look at one of the big hybrids of the final 16.
D1. Why is there two C's?
Hybrid number 3, Armatis Gigantus.
The names are beautiful.
Perhaps one of the simplest yet most effective genomes in this competition's sea of submissions.
Kind of reminds me of like a T-Rex mixed with like a Apache. Oh wait, he's one of those?
Vampire bats and Argentinosaurus as the base genome.
Only 4?
This creature submitted by geneticist Al Wall is the most straightforward example in this list of being simple but practical. This giant quakes the earth by stomping into the arena with surprisingly few augments.
That's a big
When the objective was just to put extra armor and spines along with the bolstered immune system of a vampire bat on top of the same genome this creature enjoys, you don't need much when building on top of possibly the most powerful land animal to ever exist. The colossal titan that is Argentinosaurus. To fight anything, the objective is simple. It may not seem like the fastest, and it may take time to land any major hits, but with sheer
all he's got to hit is one,
armor,
you know?
It might well weather the storm and lead to a literal
just like that
victory. This hybrid will sit and wait for the next round on spot B1.
Okay.
Number 4, Keraunoceratops
I don't mind that spot for him.
The savage lightning
something mixed with a trike. I like that.
Ceratopsian to enter the final 16.
He looks sick.
Consisting of Triceratops and Alamosaurus working together for base and size. Ankylosaurus, Southern Mammoth, Stagonelopus, Skeletosaurus, Pachycephalosaurus, Stegosaurus, Alamosaurus, Beaded lizard, and common
See, that's 9 right there. So maybe there's a limit.
Anything in nature that could stand
there's
up
a limit
to the
of 9. I could have missed that.
It was a Triceratops. And the 66-million-year-old grudge is revived with this bruiser stepping into the ring in front of the 2.0.
The horns look cooler.
Green Good to Go brought us an augmented trike sporting a wide variety of armored dinosaurs to keep it protected from head to toe.
That is a beast.
For mass and thermoregulation. Mexican beaded lizard for added defense and interesting addition of venomous bite to a ceratopsian. We'll park the horned menace in spot C1. Armor seems to be a common theme in the final 16, and rightly so. Hybrid number 5.
Okay, I like that one the best that I've seen so far.
Titan may not have the plot armor Reiner enjoyed, but
Armored
it might
Titan?
not even need that. The hybrid brought by Connor the Dinosaur Man comes stomping into the analysis platform with a modest number of 7 contributors.
He literally looks like
Argentinosaurus for
an armored dinosaur.
Size, Armadillo lizard, Megatherium, fruit bat, whiptail lizard, and tree frog.
Okay, so 7.
The second sauropod earthshaker on the list uses Diplodocus for reach and tail swing speed.
Armored
with
Titan.
Argentinosaurus for added size.
This ain't Attack on Titan.
Close range, a set of sharp claws will make a crushing attack even more lethal and messy. Armored lizards and
I guess it's going to depend on who they're going up against in the tournament.
And out. Whiptail lizard and tree frog mean that in isolation, the Titan could breed at alarming rates.
But like, if there's not one that's like, oh, he can beat everybody, he's not going to beat Indominus.
Food is laying around. The long neck was selected for being a versatile hybrid for its many methods of attack, but may not even need that many with an armored whip capable of cutting lesser animals in 2.
That's true.
This hybrid will be placed on slot B2.
It's going to be super interesting to see these. I don't know if we're going to see a battle or
one of the most creative designs.
Maybe just an explanation.
Hybrid number 6, the Spinovenator, also known as Akira, the Spiny Hunter.
It looks adorable in the face.
Studios, this hybrid consists of a genome that proves that
Wait, is it big or no?
Isn't everything.
Okay, it's not.
Weasel, leopard, jaguar, pallid bat, grasshopper mouse, barn owl, North American porcupine, Cape porcupine, Kia parrot, and honey badger. At only 6 tons, the fluffy assassin is a lot lighter than most other theropod.
Oh my goodness! I guess there's not a limit of 9.
This particular attack methodology will prove that being lighter in this case may prove advantageous. Highly intelligent and equipped with the big clawed
12
mate,
feet,
the most
about 6 tons.
Pretty,
I mean, yeah, about the same
weasels,
size.
Panthers and
Close.
carnivorous grasshopper mice add on to the claws and teeth while giving Akira the ability to create.
So Spino's going to be quick
in the fight. Fluffy but armored, the 2 species of porcupine cover it in bristles and quills for added defense that pricks back. Akira will sit on spot A2, taking the second spot
A2?
in the group of
Okay.
theropods. Hybrid number 7 is a
The A
menace
through D
from
isn't
another
ranking it by
terrace.
like best to worst, by the way.
Valkyriopteryx Hygeia is an example of how
Ooh.
simple can also be dangerous and effective.
Looks like a
and
bird.
its creator Dionet being
Is
an
this a
example
flyer?
of a bold geneticist
It is.
bringing a seemingly unconventional lightweight flyer into the arena. One that doesn't even weigh 1 full ton, but with an attack that can inflict
Quarter
a
ton?
ton of force. The modified pterosaur
There's
is
5
built on the
genetic
form of the most
contributors.
robust flying apex predator to ever live.
Okay.
Hatzigopteryx. And we appreciate avoiding using the overly used fanciful attack methods that could backfire, like spitting venom or burning acid. Instead, the addition of pileated woodpecker helps reinforce the beak and skull for strong pecs that could potentially crack bone. Lappet-faced vulture helps to buffer up the immune system as well as ramp up aggression. The bald eagle gives the pterosaur an extra weapon most flying reptiles lacked by enhancing the leg muscles and giving it a set of talons.
I'm not giving
across
him
the
a very
feet
good
whilst
chance. I mean,
also
I
enhancing
don't know
vision.
about that.
Finally, the streaked tenric, a distant relative of elephants of all things.
I'm not
helps
too
to
big on this one, I
bolster the
can't lie to
defense
you.
With some strong but very lightweight quills. These quills also give it a unique war cry to confuse its enemy. While flying, this animal could produce
It can
a
fly,
high-pitched
though,
sound
like,
called
I mean,
stridulation. This
it can do
is
that
the
too,
last
whatever that
sound
is.
many lesser animals will hear right before the pteroraptor lands on its prey and inflicts the first and final blow. The Valkyriopteryx will perch on slot D2.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Reached the
I don't know about
halfway
that one.
point of the final
We're
16.
halfway in.
Number 8 is the complete opposite of a lightweight ambusher.
Big
the
fella.
Ferropelta brings a large but relatively congruent
You're gonna
team
need
full
a
of
big
contributors
fella
whose main strategy
that
against
is
the 2.0
agile.
is defense.
Oh my-
Geneticists Omega Pictures brought us a ceratopsian with an ankylosaurid base. Almost a dozen other
16
armored dinosaurs
genetic
adding onto
contributor.
it. From deflecting armor of Gastonia to the optimized
16?
tail club of Anodontosaurus. Other members of the
See,
genome
that's what I'm saying,
increase
it's
defense,
OP.
buff up the internal structure. The
How you got
modern-day
16?
African bush elephant and macaw for increasing intelligence and decision making, and
I like this one.
Mylodon claws for better grounding and offense.
This one's got a
Its
chance.
Stance is one of the best in the hybrid war, making it close to impossible to tip over or attack the belly of this beast. Ferropelta is the second and last ceratopsian to make it into the final 16, taking spot C2 before the next evaluation round. Hybrid number 9's genome and the use of its genetic contributors wanted a spot on this final list. Nemiphagax Eversur, the destroying nemesis eater.
The
Brought forth by
destroying
geneticists at
nemesis
Pixel Studios,
eater.
This uncanny theropod of a different breed
What the-
apparently never skipped arm day.
What
While
is
some
that?
dinosaur genes are present, the addition of Dinochirus, Allosaurus annex, chimpanzee,
That one's
and
got
the
a
giant
chance.
baboon
There's been a few
Dinopithecus
that I thought
left
had
this
a-
contender
has a chance here.
seriously jacked, with talons for slashing and arms for grasping.
That's sick.
Extra armor from the Ankylosaur Zool and the Chinese alligator help protect the flanks and major body parts. All while the Tyrannosaurus jaw structure combined with Acrocanthosaurus give it a muscular body and strong jaws. A unique and clever addition to Nemi was the use of Megalodon. Its cartilaginous aspect of the skeleton
It's got
helps
Megalodon
bolster the
genes
cartilage
in it?
present on this hybrid, providing extra shock absorption and other benefits. Brawny and resilient,
it
sheer
looks
strength
beautiful.
helps make up for
And
any
terrifying.
decrease in agility. Nemiphagax will back itself up into the third spot, A3 in the Theropod build group of hybrids.
Okay.
Another large animal present in this roster of hybrid monstrosities
Wait, are we gonna
is
have Hank
hybrid
in here or
number
no?
10, Mundusaurus, geneticist LC99.
Maybe Hank 2.0?
The universe
Why does this guy kinda
reptile
look like an
stomps into
apple?
the competition with another small yet congruent genome, featuring the Apatosaurus, Shunosaurus, the well-known Argentinosaurus, Kentrosaurus, and a possum. This
A possum?
medium, or some would say
What's
a
the
small
possum doing
sauropod
in here?
initially sounds like a bad idea compared to prior titans.
He's just getting
but
in
at
people's
30 tons,
garbage.
Mundusaurus still has more than enough mass to throw around. The muscular Apatosaurus genome is back for revenge
Wait, that's a
after
raccoon.
what the Indominus Rex
The
did in
possum's
Jurassic
getting
World,
garbage too.
granting it a body that is both brawny and yet with a huge reach. Taking on the tail club sauropod Shunosaurus for an optimal weapon and Argentinosaurus for bolstered size and armor, this hybrid has some fantastic congruency for picks within a single family. Kentrosaurus further adds
I'm
to the
not a
armor
big
on the
fan of this one.
outside,
I can't
and
lie
an
to you.
unexpected
Not a
addition
big
in the
fan.
Virginia opossum gives
Could do some
resilience to
damage.
both bacterial infections and venoms on the inside. Fun fact, these innocuous marsupials are actually extremely resistant to venom, able to hunt venomous snakes.
That's
They
pretty
are
sick.
also one of the only mammals completely immune to rabies and numerous other viruses. Mundusaurus will take the third slot in the sauropods list on B3 and will await
We only
the
have a
next
few more
round
spots
to
here.
begin.
What, 6?
The genome of hybrid number 11 is the definition of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Geneticist Nacho Pups brought us a highly congruent theropod with minimal additions with other sources. Theropod Rex, a combination of extremely agile Tyrannosaurus, lightweight.
See, I like the T-Rex. I like the raptors.
And the claws and shredding teeth of several Carnosaurs.
I wanted to
Built
see
on
some
top
sort of
a
Spino.
Carcharodontosaurus-based genome, there is plenty of efficiency out of the gate. Dexterous arms from orangutans
That's pretty cool.
further help with grappling and leveraging those teeth and claws.
A little
Theropod
bit bigger than
dinosaurs
Indom.
dominated the big carnivore role in virtually every ecosystem.
Bigger
for
doesn't
over
always mean better.
100 million
Gotta remember
years
that.
for a very good reason. Simplicity and practicality are some of the best policies in the Great Hybrid War. This hybrid snags the last spot in the Theropod builds group.
Okay,
leaving only
that's all the
5 spots
Theropods
left for the round of 16. Time to show a unique hybrid, and one that may come as a surprise to most people. Maybe even the creator geneticist Chris Wobsevenson. Hybrid number 12, Gigantotherium. A name meaning gigantic beast.
Is this gonna
may
kinda
more
be like a
suitable for an
call?
animal other than an ape, especially given
Okay, it's
that
gonna be
these
an ape.
animals have some pretty strict
That's what I meant
limits
to
on
say.
how large they could get. However, the creator cleverly found a
How
workaround,
big is it compared to
using the
Indom,
monster
though?
sloth Megatherium as a base and Gigantopithecus for ape-like traits. This 8-ton Goliath is the genius
8
bruiser
tons?
of the competition. With multiple contributors for intelligence, such as elephants
So he's
and
gonna have
orca, its
intelligence,
combined
he's probably gonna be
instincts,
able to
if used
climb.
correctly, could give it enough smarts to leverage weaponry granted from other
I mean,
contributors.
about the same
All while
size.
flexible
A little
pangolin
bit
armor
smaller,
helps
but
keep it defended from head to toe
close to
weather
the same
hits
size.
as it bashes, bites, claws, and brings weapons to deadly purpose. If wielding the right weapon or tool and leveraging dexterity, this creature could pull off a surprising win against the pale menace. The ape hybrid will settle along with the other exotics.
Not
in
bad,
D3
not bad. I
and
don't hate
awaits
that
the
one.
next round. Hybrid number 13 is a pleasant surprise. Something born of the Mesozoic.
Wait, that kind
but
of
not
looked like
just
one of
the
those
dinosaur
monsters.
stumps
No,
in
from
the
Kaiju
platform.
Universe. You
Patterned
know that
after
one with the big
sauropod-like
spike?
crocodilian
The 2 big
relative
spikes off the back?
Silosuchus, Geneticist DB4's
Unless you
Lucanovenator
don't play it,
is
that's okay.
augmented with strong body armor from other crocodilian cousins and
Ooh.
armored dinosaurs. Orangutan
Kinda
arms
look like a
and
human
intelligence
face.
round out a body bolstered with
Human
size
eyes.
and thermoregulation.
You see what I'm saying? For my
thanks to
KU
the
people out there.
Alamosaurus. Resilient, simple, agile, and practical with no major weaknesses. This hybrid combines surprising resilience with exceptional reach and agility. Armored
Exceptional
and yet
reach.
quick, it can both tank hits as well as
He's
go
got
on the
that
offensive
reach,
with
like John
charges and
Jones.
swipes to either push forward with an offense or fall back on defending. Lucanovenator will fall to position on slot D4.
3
and
more
watch
spots,
the
guys,
last
3 more
hybrids
spots.
take the remaining spots. The hybrid war was flooded with many unique submissions, but a hybrid that clawed its way to the final 16.
Look, that one's the bottom right there. What is
clever
that?
Methods of inflicting venomous bites was number 14, Arctosaurus horridum. The bear reptile submitted by geneticist
the bear
KC1401 actually uses the ancient croc cousin from the Mesozoic. The body of the biggest land predator the world had ever seen outside of dinosaurs, Phasilosuchus, Tyrannosaurus Rex, and Kodiak bear further augment.
So it's
mass
gonna be a
and
big
muscular
fella.
distribution along the body and jaws.
This is what they're
increase
telling.
senses, and those bear
The
arms will be
Cuban
no joke
crocodile?
at this scale. Here's the interesting part. Gila monster DNA was added for a practical venom attack without having potentially
my.
breakable snake fangs.
That looks so sick
This
right there.
creature's added benefit of scaly armor works in tandem with that of a Cuban crocodile to provide protection.
The crocodile
scrappy
was
Wolverine
moving, bro.
further enhances its resilience as well as those killer fangs. The robust brawler is not the largest, but definitely
Not the
one who can
largest, but
swipe,
does look
claw,
sick.
and wrestle before landing a devastating bite that
I mean,
just
he's the
might
same size as
refuse to let
Indominus.
go. Its lighter weight helps this bruiser keep the
Maybe
agility
a little bit
it
smaller.
might need in a confrontation. The bear reptile takes slot D5 and patiently
2
awaits
more,
its
ladies and
rival.
gentlemen. Who do you
There
like
are
the
only
best
2
out of all
spots
this?
left in the final 16, and now we'll reveal the last sauropod to squeeze into this group of
See, I'm
powerful
just not
builds.
big. I'm not big
Hybrid
on the
number
long neck
15,
fellas,
the
you know.
Atherotitan Christus, aka
I'm not big on those.
Behemoth, name meaning Heavenly Titan of Christ. Submitted by geneticist Casuarius, the creator of this hybrid submitted what
I
might
mean,
have
it
been
looks
one of
kinda
the
sick,
biggest
actually.
entries to make it this far.
I've
A
liked that
Titan
one the
clad
best,
in spiny
out of the
armor
long
built
neck
upon
fellas.
The Argentinosaurus as well, Behemoth thunders into battle with a menagerie of extra armor from familiar sources. From the pangolin to the dwarf crocodile, and several types of ankylosaur for extra plating and spikes. It also has wedge-tailed eagle vision and flying fox
Dang.
traits that enhance its immunity
Just
to
took
various
me out.
bacteria and viruses. Being this
Okay,
heavy
now,
means
this one is the best
sacrificing
looking
maneuverability.
out of the
However,
ones with
at
the
this
long neck.
scale, and being this well defended, all of its vitals are well off the ground, and any part in easy grabbing or
87
biting range like
tons,
the
bro.
legs or belly is coated in defenses or spikes. Anything it crushes, it will destroy.
Hey,
the
this
last
one has a
righteous
chance, I
sauropod
think.
earns its spot in this group on slot
That
D4,
one's gonna be the winner of the
leaving
long necks.
only
I'm
just
calling it.
one. You
One
may have
more.
noticed that the last remaining slot resides in the unique builds group. This entry made it
The
to this
unique
list not only
builds.
because of its prowess and build, but to the merit of its creators, who decided to use an underrated herbivore family as the base, Hadrosaurs. Meet
Okay.
the last entry to the final 16, Yamabrontorax maximus.
Yama
Or
who?
as its creator geneticist Hardy Maximus names it, Gilgamesh. Believe it or not, this hybrid was built
Okay.
upon possibly one of the most powerful land animals to ever exist outside of the
Ooh.
sauropod build, Shantungosaurus.
That's a
An
pretty
animal
cool
that almost
design.
perfectly hits the sweet spot between size and speed. Gilgamesh is agile enough to easily
My boy
keep pace
Gil.
with faster opponents and press the attack, but having more than enough mass to leverage its weight and power into crushing blows. What it lacks on major obvious
That
weapons,
one's kinda cool,
raw
too.
force from impacts can more
Pretty
than
big.
make up for it.
Bigger than
With
Indom.
long legs helping with a straightforward charge, the spiny armor further augments
From what you
every
guys
blow
have
and
seen,
attack
bro,
angle.
who
In
do you
close
got?
quarters, these could prove
Can any of them
devastating.
beat
Any
Indom?
attempt by a rival
2.0.
to grapple,
I don't know.
restrain, pounce, or climb atop runs the heavy risk of getting thrown off and trampled before the body whips around for a crushing hit. These, ladies and gents, have been the top
That's a bet.
16
I'm
entries
hyped.
of the first hybrid war. Coming up, the 16
The top
competitors will wait and see
16,
where they
man.
will be placed in the final bracket. This event will be live streamed for members at a future date. The
See, that's
resulting
pretty cool.
bracket
That's
will
pretty
be
cool.
publicized, and the
So that's
real
just putting them all
tournament
into the
will begin.
tournament, and then the tournament
First,
begins
narrowing
in
the
videos.
contenders to 8 hybrids that can fight the 2.0 more effectively and pull off more wins. As we move on to the grand finale, the
So it'll be
final
8
four will
to the
face
final 4,
serious scrutiny,
to the
laying bare
championship,
their
and then
flaws
who
and
can
weaknesses that
fight
could
Indom,
cost
maybe?
them their life. At the end, only the strongest will rise victorious,
That's
marking
sick,
the
dude.
end of this hybrid war and the beginning of a new era.
A new era? What you mean? Now wait a minute. What's he talking about? Beginning of a new era. What's after this? I think these are. Now I did see something when Goji, they made that new monster, but I forgot when they did it, and it was a while ago. So maybe that new era means new monsters and new stuff like that. Hey, I'm all for it. Thank you guys for watching with me. I will see you tomorrow. I love ya. Goodbye.